Good evening to you, Reverend Dr. Abbeam Ampomah Danso.
Good evening, sir.
Where were you when you discovered Christ? Share that short story with us right now. My listeners listening to you from Ghana and everywhere across the world to get to be motivated on your Damascus experience story.
Seriously, from my infancy, I was born into Christ Apostolic Church, and I grew in the church. I saw myself in the church when I was growing, and so when it comes to having an encounter with God, it was my childhood. I believe some of the people who knows me from my childhood, I remember one of the greatest testimony, and also let me call it as a story that a lot of people know about me was there was once a chicken, that died, and because I had seen a lot of, my mom praying and all pastors were praying. I also had faith that if I pray for the chicken will rise up once again, and it did.
From the dead?
Yes, as I was a child.
Chicken?
Yes.
How old were you?
I was about 6 years.
6 years?
Yes.
And you had the faith that if you pray for that chicken that was dead, it will come back to life.
Come back to life.
And it happened.
And it did. So it's one of the greatest stories that those who knows me when I was young, they will all say. So in terms of, let's talk about Damascus, I didn't find myself in that sense, but I was rather backslided as I was growing. And this time I have to say backslided because at the age of 9, my grandmother, and at that time my grandmother had married a man who was, they farm wheat. So wheat was one of their farm crops.
Your grandmother?
Yes.
Was having a wheat farm?
Yes, that my grandmother's husband.
Husband?
Yes.
Also, that's more or less your grandfather?
Yes, I had my grandfather there, so
yes.
I say the step-grandfather
sort of was cultivating
wheat. And so in that sense, I had opportunities to start smoking, because I saw all of them smoking some. So at the age of 9, I was smoking, yet I was going to church. And I wouldn't have seen that as a sin those days, and it wasn't like a problem because you could see them, smoking and all that. But during the time when I finished school, when I was 13 years, when they took me to Volta region, because my mom was poor and my mom wasn't able to take care of me, that was when my problems, let's say, my life started. Getting to see hardship and see problems at the age of 13, selling ice kenke, walking on barefooted. My dad is dead, and I have nobody. And so during that process of time, I found myself in Accra. In Accra, I quite remember I wasn't ready to go to my village, so I went to my mom and told my mom I want to start life in Accra. And at that time, I was about 14 years. 14 years, my mom bought me a rubber bowl, bought me a rubber bucket, gave me a sponge, a towel, and a spoon. And then told me to come to, Accra to
migrate to Accra.
Yes,
to start life at that young age.
14 years. And in that, those times, I remember he gave me 50 cedis. And that 50 cedis couldn't take me back to my hometown. And these guys, they beat me up in Carnation, and they took everything from me.
Who were you coming to? Who were you coming to stay with in Accra?
Nobody.
Nobody. But how? How would you leave your hometown and come to a city as big as Accra, 14 years old, and your mother told you to come and look for a life in Accra?
You see, one thing I've learned in my life is that when there is struggle, people find a way to live. Every way to live, they will find it. In my case, I thought if you are in the village, I think what I could see is that Accra is the biggest city, and that is where opportunity is. And I mean, you being in the village, that ancient town, I mean, Kumawu, being there, you wouldn't see pipe, born water. You wouldn't
no electricity, no life, virtually
so
no life.
That's the thing. And every time you're going to farm, so coming to Accra and be in the Kaneshi market and see people, and also be able to carry people's load and get maybe 1 cedi or whatever. It was a opportunity.
So you said the guys beat you up.
Yeah.
They really gave you a beating of your life.
Yeah.
At Kaneshi, right?
Yeah, Kaneshi.
Right? And took everything away from you.
Yes.
So what happened afterwards?
I remember that time, be in the village, you always believe that when there is police, you don't do any silly things. But I remember eventually when I stayed there and I grew, I remember I found out that all these people were police children.
They were police children?
Yeah, in that area. And they were also struggling. And then I remember when they were beating me, there were police officers standing there, and these guys were telling me, B.A.G. Kawukudi, and I didn't understand at that time,
They were using that language on you?
And they were beating me. I had no idea what was happening.
Have you been able to find out the meaning of that word they used on you?
B.A.G. Kawukudi.
B.A.G. Here is Kawukudi.
Yes. And so, I mean, basically, that's what we saw. I remember the time I found myself in Kaneshi. Those were the time they were actually, people would say somebody's manhood is missing.
When they touch you, they get missing.
It gets missing.
That was the time.
Those times, and I remember one of my friends. We carried a load to Odoko. If you remember, in Odoko, one guy got burned. If you remember.
Okay.
That guy was my friend, and I know he had no juju. We didn't have any juju, but this guy said we have touched him. So for me, by God's grace, I was able to run, and they caught him.
And they bent him alive.
Those times was a very crazy time.
And you were with him at that time? You had to run for your life.
I was running for my life, and one of these things have made me to feel like, okay, why did God make me to have that strength to be able to run? Because it could have been me, and that guy had no family like me at that time, and if I was burned, I mean, nobody could have ever known that happened to me,
Wow. This is Hits 103.9 FM. This is Gospel, and I have your man here, right here, Reverend Dr. Abbeam Ampomah Danso. Now, let me just give you a gist about who he really is. You got a story, very humbling beginning, and this is who he is. He is the chancellor of Abbeam Institute of Technology. It's a university right here in Accra, right here at Kaswa. He's the chairman, Abbeam Group of Companies, and he's also the chairman for Abbeam International School, and Abbeam Real Estate, Abbeam Health Center, wow, Direct Access Ghana, Abbeam Water, etc. Listen, a conglomerate. God lifted him from that low beginning, coming to Accra at age 14 with a plastic container. He got the beating of his life at Kaneshi. He did not give up. He was resilient, and today, this is how far God has blessed him. He's the founder and leader of God Solution Center, both in UK and in Ghana. So you know who I'm talking to. Okay, so Rev.
Yes, sir.
It humbles me to get to know you this way. It humbles me to know that you came from this very, very humble beginning, and that's far God has brought you. How when you sit back and you reflect, how do you feel? How do you feel when you sit back and you reflect back in the day, how you started and how far God has brought you? What is your own comment on it?
For me, I believe that God, in His own infinite, he knew what he wants to use me for. I feel it is an opportunity from God. I would have wished to say I don't deserve it, but if I say it, it seems I'm limiting God's wisdom and his own understanding and his own way of creating me. But for me, I see it as humbling, that for God to be able to use somebody like me, because I have a family, and I believe that among my mother's children, we are 11. One is dead. Why wasn't me? He left with 10. Why did he choose me? It's always questioning myself, and I believe that I will always be, honored, and I will always be. I want to show a gratitude, to God, per the things I do, to make him know that I appreciate the opportunity given to me, and I wish I'll be able to fulfill every mission he's always giving me. That is the kind of feeling.
Don't you get overwhelmed? Don't you sit back and say, God, this is too many. I mean, I have my hands are full with all these things, and year upon year you give me new vision and new mission to carry on. Don't you feel that way sometimes?
If I am the one doing it,
yes,
then I will feel so. But because it is he in me doing it, if I feel so, it seems like I'm limiting.
You are limiting the power of God.
Because if it was I doing it, then I would say, oh wow, I think I'm strong. Wow, God, how could you give me this strength? But I believe that he in me doing it,
that is in you
he's
doing it,
able to do even bigger than what I see,
what you can ask or imagine.
Wow. So that is the feeling.
So it's not you.
No.
So you don't get tired at all.
He doesn't get tired. For me, yes, I am waiting for the death, when he takes me back.
Yes.
But for him, he's in control every now and then.
Amen. Amen. Now, I'm going to take you straight into the sensitive topic and the reason why we invited you.
Okay.
It's very interesting that in current years, our youth of today have begun to indulge in certain behaviors that are very difficult to talk about. A lot of men of God shy away from talking about it, because if you talk about it, you are tempted to lose membership in church. You are tempted to lose some relationship in your neighborhood, and all that with regards to alcoholism and the attitude of smoking. You have been there before. That's why we invited, so you could come share your experience with us.
Okay.
Are we going to see a Ghana in 20 years to come where our youth are full of drunkards or drug addicts? Are we going to see a Ghana like this? Why do you think we have men of God like you in this country and we are still facing this challenge and we are where we are? Is it good that we are seeing this?
Wow. We will never see Ghana like this tomorrow. Ghana today is different from Ghana yesterday, and Ghana today will be different from Ghana tomorrow. But in terms of what you're saying, in terms of drugs, in terms of those things, definitely I would say when the way we kind of adopting the Western and losing our trace in terms of our culture is causing a lot of things. Ghana today, I told you when I was 9 years, I started smoking. So definitely,
it's not new.
It's not new. It exists. Why we see the children as they are so spoiled is because of social media.
You think so?
Yes.
What has social media got to do with alcoholism? Going to the beer bar to just booze and going to the ghetto to get some rolls and smoke all around?
You see, whatever monkey sees, monkey does.
Wow.
And what happens is that the social media reveal, if I tell you, I did media. Okay. There's something called shitty story.
Good.
Okay, so shitty story sells
A lot.
a lot.
Yes.
And what is happening in this case is that we exhibit more of shitty stories. Somebody is in a beer bar and then camera on it showing how beautiful it is, and it shows that, oh, it is good to do this, it's good to do that. So we are promoting those kind of things. And then also, let me come to when we talk about the Christendom,
yes.
why as men of God are there and somehow these things are going on.
Yes.
In our days, I mean the 60s, 70s, when you get to a church auditorium and you are smoking and you see the church, building,
Yes.
you quench the fire until you pass.
Before you pass by the church.
Before you pass by the church. When you hear reverend, we give, reverence to them. We respect them. These days, we have something called freedom of speech. Now, let me say this to you, as I said about our culture. In those 70s, 60s, we had uncles, grand uncles. We have big brothers in our own house. We have uncles in our house. We have aunties, and then outside our house we have the area brother, the area uncle, and then we have our mothers and our fathers' brothers who are our fathers.
Extended.
We have extended families.
Good.
And every child was for every mother.
Okay.
Every child was for every father. So therefore, perhaps if you do anything silly, you'll be beaten by everybody. And so, for you to do something,
So if you go stealing, and you are caught, everybody, you receive lashing from the neighborhood.
That's the thing.
Because you are a responsibility to everybody.
And when they see you crying, they will ask you, Kojo, why are you crying? And you definitely tell them, I'm crying because Uncle Kojo beat me. And then they will now say, what did you do that Uncle Kojo beat you? And then you say what you did, and that person will also beat you. So you continue, explaining yourself. So the more you are explaining yourself, it enters into your brain, your mind. So that, brings some form of fear. Now, why are we not doing the same thing? Politicians, and I will always say this, I will keep on saying it. Politicians have entered into, our homes. They have entered into our churches. They have entered into our media. They have entered into our business. If you are having a business and somehow you speak any little way, to try to, straighten politicians anyhow, somehow they will come after you. And so politicians are the most demonic, destroying our children.
You think they are involved?
I'm not saying they are involved.
They are
I said they are the most demonic in our in raising our children.
Wow.
All right. Now they call something freedom of speech. So you can't beat somebody's child. Gone are the days when you are going to school and you are late, you know what will happen to you. Now we are believing that those things are abuse, but forgetting, that we are not British, we are not, the States, because they have strategic ways of building their people, even based on their strategic things that they are using to,
they are more developed.
No, even being developed and building their children. I'm telling you, they are still struggling and looking a means to be able to hold their children. And so why adopt what is failing in their area? These are the problems. And so we have taken our culture away from ourselves. Culture simply means what? Way of people live. So how do we live? You can see a small boy. You know that this boy, he has done something that's wrong, that you can smack that child. The Bible says that spare the rod and spoil the child. Somehow, that these days you can't beat your own child.
I hear even in GS, in Ghana Education Service now, there's a law that's been passed that you cannot cane the children in school.
That's the point.
So that's what you are talking about?
That's the point. You know, so like in London, one thing I do is that I've told my children, for you to spoil, I'd rather be in prison. So if you do something wrong, I'll beat you. I've told them.
Don't you think that is you know, that amount to corporal punishment, that amount to too harsh of a punishment to a child if you spank the child?
No. If you see my children, you'll be happy. Because they are sensible and wise enough, and they are humble and they respect. And they are very serviceable. Because they know that perhaps if you do anything wrong, there is going to be a punishment. Let's be honest, as Christians, why we ought to do good is because there is punishment. As Christians, why we ought to do good is because there is punishment. So you can't take punishment away from growing a child or growing an adult. And that is what these people are doing. And then we must also be very careful, because when we look at politicians, what they are doing is that they can do evil and go scot-free. But we cannot do it. And then they are telling us not to grow our children the right way as well.
That a man of God of your type would choose to listen to a song like this from Bob Marley. I've sat in this studio and interviewed people who describe this song as secular, and this does not fit into a Christian home. How much more a man of God? You listen to this kind of song, Prof?
Yeah.
Why do you do that? Isn't it secular?
Okay. What is gospel? That's what I want to know. And what do you have a gospel song? Do we have a gospel song?
I mean, what we know is the gospel songs are the ones that we sing in church, and the Christians compose and they sing them about.
Did you hear about Jah? Did you hear about Jah?
Yeah, I hear Jah.
What is the meaning? Jehovah.
Yeah.
That's the point. And what the young man is actually telling us is encouraging us to make sure that we don't gossip. The young man is telling us we should make sure we should be telling the truth. You understand? And he was telling the truth and telling people that the one who is doing those evil things, he should wear the cap. And we know that we have been lying, we've been lied to all the time. I've been preaching to most of the women, and I've been telling the women that stop allowing politicians to be lying to you. Equality. Now women are fighting against men, calling themselves, yes, we are, what do you call it, feminine. What do you mean? Eh?
There are a whole lot of them around.
Time.
A whole lot of them around.
Yasantua's time was a woman. There was nothing called equality. Our mothers are stronger, mightier, powerful. They have something called, what do you call it, a career woman. Do you know what is a career woman? You leave your children in the house, and then you give your child to somebody that your child has no idea of, that even doesn't know your child, and you go and say you're a career, and they raise them up with bitterness and evilness. Is that what you think it makes you a woman?
Yeah.
That you ought to be competing with a man that makes you a strong woman? No. There is something wrong. My wife is so strong. She has gone to school. She has masters and all that. But she supports me in a sense.
Submissive.
She's submissive. She makes me to know that I'm a man. My brother, there is nothing called equality. You and me, we are not the same. We may be men, but we are not the same.
But the laws of the state say so.
You see, that is the point. It is now you go again, politicians. You see, our culture makes us to know who is a child, who is a grown-up, who is an uncle, who is a brother, who is a sister, who is an auntie, who is whatnot. And so we all give respect to ourselves and makes everybody to know positions. Obiawuni level. Now this time, it's not like that. We've come to a point that it has even gone to worse, that somebody who have made life. Mikai those days, we have something called Bobrapa. It was a rubber, it was a bucket in my village. I
remember that bucket, yeah, Bobrapa.
Bobrapa.
Yes, yes.
If an uncle does well and prosper and is been able to pay almost how many children's school fees, when he comes home,
yeah,
that is the bowl we use to, fetch water for the uncle to bath. So all of us, the children, we are mentors in our houses. So these mentors we can touch, we can see, and we always feeling like we also want to be like them. Now, I can bet you have children, but you are not their mentor. And their mentor, they don't even know their mentor. They see their mentor on social media. They see them on television. And they say, this is my mentor. And so even the word mentor, they don't even know. Okay? So these are the problems we are facing. So as I said to you, the media, social media, has brought all this chaos. My brother, gone are the days. You cannot sit on the radio and insult somebody.
True.
You couldn't do that.
True.
Now let's look at politics. For you to be a greater, the most greater politician, you must learn how to insult. You must learn how to receive insult. If you know this, then you are the most powerful, politician in Ghana. This is what is happening. So, do we blame pastors alone? No. It's society. You see, for the church to be able to do well, we need the society. We need the society. And we must understand that I cannot build a church here if I have not registered my church.
But Prof, somebody who's listening to you say, Reverend, I think Ghana has moved on. After almost, after 50 and 60 years and counting, don't you think we have moved on from that era and we've moved into a new era where, society have their own dynamics? And like you are saying, the social media world is where we are now. Don't you think that we should be conformed to what is happening now?
As you asked me the first question, you said, it's getting worse. And so we can never conform. I mean, I live in London, so I know what is happening. It is happening in England, it's happening in America. They are all crying because of the social media. Anybody can be in their house and insult and cause chaos. Even if you are doing good, somebody will just come there and blast you and destroy whatever good you're doing. This is what is happening. I mean, if perhaps you are with your wife, one of them will record naked video. And should in case an issue come between the two of you, your nakedness is going to be shown the whole world. There are madness going on at this time.
Because of social media.
Gone are the days. We have something called communal labor.
Yeah.
Now it doesn't exist any longer. Somebody will just go and throw some, rubbish somewhere and then call for the government to come and do it. Why? Because the government has made us to understand that when they are voted, they are going to do this, they are going to do that. You understand? So government, do it. For me, I believe if anything can change in Ghana, all the nananoms that we see that are doing nothing at this moment, government should be able to give them power to now rule as they were ruling those days. I remember my great-grandmother. There was no court. She was the court.
She was the judge of
the judge of the place. Not the family. The entire community. And she would judge, and because of that, people were afraid. And there was nothing called bribe. You understand? And so, let's face the facts.
Let's face the facts.
We are following politicians and it's not working. It's not working for Donald Trump. It's not working for, what do you call it, Theresa May. It's not going to work for Nana Akufo-Addo. So they should wise up quickly.
WhatsApp line is activated now. 0267300327. I mean, it's wish me well. Kwame Eugene, who the cap fits? Bob Marley. Why this song by Kwame Eugene?
I love Kwame so much. Kwame calls me daddy, so I know the beginning of Kwame. You know, so first of all, the song, I call it gospel.
This is gospel
To me.
This song is gospel
It's
to
a gospel
you.
to me.
Why is this song
gospel? And so, can I come as you know, have you realized in Ghana here, when a young man becomes rich, works hard, they have no idea how you struggle, then they give the glory to the devil. That it is a devil who gave you the power, you know, your money and your prosperous. You know, somebody needed help from me and the person came. So I said, oh, come, you know, come to my room.
Yes.
And the person was running away. He said, no, I'm not coming. I said, why? He said, they say you kill people. I said, but why did you come for the money?
You?
Yeah.
You kill people?
Yes. You understand? He said, that's what a lot of people are saying, but it's just that I need the money so bad. That's why I came. And he said to me, here, I gave somebody some money. He said, why are you giving me this money? I don't want it. You think I don't know what you do? I said, what do I do?
So you hear this often?
Oh, a lot. Some of them are bold enough to come to me.
And they ascribe it to the fact that it's not from God. Your wealth is not from God.
That's the point. I mean, if you're a man of God, either it's not from God or it is your church members' money. But a bank manager's money is not from the public. You know? The bank manager's money is not from the public. Whereby we know it's from the public.
Because it's perceived as, you know, the church offering and all the collections and all the goodies from members that comes
the government collects all our money. Me, it's just only small church. Small church, I collect offering. The government collects your money, my money, everybody's money. What about that?
You know, give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar.
Who is Caesar? You understand? And it's the same as you're saying, give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. Jesus also collected offering, collected gifts. There are some of the gifts that even Judas Iscariot said, as for this one, Papa, we can sell it and go and give it to poor. He said, listen, poor are with you all the days. It will be with you all the time. But me, I will not be with you. You know? So, like me, I do a lot of businesses. Okay? At the end of the day, even as I'm doing my business, even if I buy a car or a house, they still believe that it's from the church or it's from Juju.
In spite of all the businesses
yes, out of ignorance. Yeah.
All right. So how do you take that? He's coming from that. You know, most of you do miracles and others are full.
Everybody live by miracle.
Yes.
And so I don't think anybody does a bigger miracle than me. Because as I'm living is a miracle. Somebody is dead wishing to live. If I sleep, nobody wakes me up. But somehow I wake up, you know, by some great God we serve. And so I think we all somehow do miracles, you know. And so I think we all have some miracles.
Okay.
And so nobody, you see, you are unique in your own way.
Your own way.
I have something, you know, a word I normally say. I said, I am complete, so I don't compete.
That's
you
deep.
know. So that, as I was talking about women, you see, women are not for cooking. They are mothers. That's why even as we've grown, we still suck breast.
True.
If you don't have a mother,
the living testimony.
We love mothers than fathers. Although you need fathers to strengthen you in, you know, to be a man.
Always go back there.
That's the point. But mothers So we are begging mothers, Ghanaian mothers, that they should become mothers than career.
God bless you, Rev. It's been an awesome time with you. I've enjoyed my moments, and I don't know about you out there. Let the conversation continue. He says that politicians and social media, you are messing up our homes and societies. What do you think? Follow him. Rev, we want to follow you on social media. How do we do that?
It's Abbeam Ampomah Danso. If you can follow me at Abbeam Danso Ampomah Danso. Abbeam Ampomah Danso. On Facebook,
on Instagram,
on Twitter.
Okay.
Yes. And you know what? I like talking to people. Yes, no matter who you are, we are all the same. So I love talking to people. Whether you believe in God, whether you are gay, whether you are a prostitute, whoever you are, I don't criticize. I don't believe in criticism.
Great.
It is only the devil who does so.
Jesus didn't do that.
No, we don't need to.
Both Jews and Gentiles, he brought us together.
By your life, you can transform people.
Okay, thank you. We are very much pleased that in spite of your busy schedules, you found time to come here and speak to our listeners.
Thank you.
I think I've been touched, and most of the people, I mean, you got it from the calls and text messages. Your word has gone down. God bless you. May God increase you, and our prayer is that we'll see you again very soon, alive and kicking.
Amen.
And in much bigger grace than we see today.
Amen.
God be with you, Prof.
Thank you, sir.
And I'll end with this song from Emanuela Abbeam. I love this song so much, and go check out the video on YouTube as well. And the song says Adonai. Next is Yard Settings by Ken Lagazi. If you stop to say a prayer, please say one for me and my team. Thanks to my producers, Gabby Angels, Mario B, Lady Thez, Cydia GH, and Derek.